Welcome to another Audacy check-in with the most interesting man in all of music, Win Butler, who is not only
in all of music.
I think.
I mean, coming out hot.
Yeah, well, I mean,
coming on strong.
I'm not one for hyperbole.
Yeah,
I'm one to keep it very
the most
subdued.
interesting man in all music.
I think so. Mainly because to be fair, the reason why I love Win is because I love Arcade Fire. It's one of my favorite bands of all time.
I sing in that band.
I've heard of them.
Yeah.
They're sort of in the news right now. The reason why I said this to you when meeting you the first time in New Orleans. I don't know if you remember, but I walked up and I said,
remember every conversation.
No, I'm sure you do.
Ever had.
I'm sure you do.
So
very first time I ever saw Win, I said I moved to New Orleans and I only wanted to meet two people. Kermit Ruffins and Win Butler. And he looked at me and said, okay, now what? I was like, I don't know. I have no idea.
And then you moved.
Then I moved
the
here.
next week. You
Yes.
moved to Brooklyn. So
Yes.
you accomplished what you set out.
I tried.
to do. Congratulations,
Thanks, buddy.
It's been
And
great.
good night, everybody.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
Thank
you
you
so much.
Don't forget to listen to the radio.
Yeah. We're doing a big Borched event. So a big week for you, huh? This is a big deal. After so many of these, do you still feel pressure? Is there any pressure in a week like this?
What kind of pressure?
Well, you have an album coming out.
Yes.
It's a big deal for you.
Yeah.
You put so much time and effort into it.
Like, are people going to like it, or is it going to do well, or what do you mean?
Well, what kind of pressure do you put on yourself?
I mean, when we started in Montreal, the kind of dream for a band was if you could sell 10,000 records, then you could go on tour and sort of barely subsist, but you could kind of not exactly quit your day job, but you could at least make another record. And we put it out on Merge, and we sold 10,000 records in the first week. And we're like, well, okay, that wasn't really on the bingo card. And I feel like, but since then, I mean, as long as we're able to make the next record and kind of have a life that, that we're happy with, it's like, it's all gravy. You know what I mean? To me, it's more about the art and just like really, I'm already dreaming about the next record as soon as the first one's done.
Yeah. So once it's printed, pressed, and moved along, the pressure is over for you.
For me, the biggest pressure is just like listening back to the final master and it sounding like the way that it did in Mean Machine's head. I mean, that's sort of the ultimate. Once that's there, then it is a daunting amount of work, like promoting a record and all that sort of stuff is like definitely not my number one favorite part of the job. But it's just like a miracle that we're able to be in a band still and able to, do it. So just a lot of gratitude.
You also said in passing, will people like it? Does that, let's be honest, at your level, do you really care if people like it anymore?
Not reviewers so much, but you want some kid to hear it somewhere who needs to hear it, because I was that kid, so I think it's more about that. Like you hope that it reaches whoever needs to hear it. You hope it can reach them.
Well, the album has been well documented, split into two sides and two very different theories, right? So, and you're better at this than I. So, explain the two theories and why they were so important for you.
Well, I mean, it's the record's about 40 minutes. It's like the shortest LP we've made, but there's some really heavy material on it. Like we have a song called "End of the Empire" that's like 9.5 minutes, and it's one of the kind of most ambitious things I think we've done. And it's sort of like the first half is almost about this desire to escape, and I think that we live in a time where there's so much like negativity, and we really hold each other back in so many ways and try to cut each other down, and it can be really daunting just waking up in the morning. I think for everyone at times. But then when the pandemic hit, and we were all forced to be so internal, and time sort of stretched out, and we had all this time that we didn't have before, and was sort of left with this overwhelming feeling of unconditional love, and all the moments in your life of connection, and sort of realizing that these two ideas aren't opposites, but they're actually kind of part of the same thing. So that's what we're trying to express on the record.
And when you have a theory like this, and you have a project that is so thought through like this, the thing about Arcade Fire, everything is so purposeful. You have such a direct intention with everything that you do. When you write, does the purpose of an album find its way to you after the songs that you wrote, or do you start with that purpose?
I mean, I think it's more like it's more from your subconscious and just from being a human. And I think as an artist, um, you're looking at the world and trying to understand your place in it, and understand there's all these huge, it's almost like you're in the Pacific Ocean, and there's these huge currents under the surface, and there's all these kind of really big tectonic movements beneath us that are kind of shaping our lives. Giant changes in technology. In New Orleans, it's like we really feel the changes in the weather. We had to leave for 2 weeks because of a hurricane that hit on the anniversary of Katrina this year, and it's like there are these massive world events, war, and then I think that as an artist, you're just trying to express, make some sort of document of what it feels like to be alive in the time that you're born in, and so that like I still listen to my grandfather. Played music in the 30s and 40s, and I still listen to his records all the time, and it gives me a sense of peace connecting to his music and remembering how insane things were during World War II, and like just the things that he went through in his life, and just it kind of makes your problems seem a lot less significant.
Sidebar: he played something really interesting, though. Didn't he have like what instrument did he play? Was it a slide guitar or
I mean,
something?
he became famous for he was the grandfather of the pedal steel guitar. He actually modified it, added all the pedals, and he built the first prototype of the electric guitar too. So, like in a roundabout way, he was sort of responsible for the electrification of music.
Well, so put a pin in that because I want to come back to that. The first side, the difference between the first side and the second side of the album, to me, you bring up the last track and the most ambitious, but also inside of that track, it's I unsubscribe, and you're basically talking about how difficult it is to be in America and the trials and
I think it
tribulations.
transcends America. I mean,
Mm.
I feel like now it's like the biggest change in my lifetime is that a lot of these things are international. It's like we're kind of, because of these giant multinational corporations, we're all participating in. It's like I feel like we've never been more connected to other people. So it's like it's interesting, but a lot of it does. There is an American vibe to a lot of it, obviously.
Yeah, and then you go 2 tracks later and you have Lookout Kid, basically trying to, tell your son, "Everything's gonna be okay." I wonder how you mesh the
I think
2
I was saying the
thoughts.
opposite. I think I was
Oh,
saying
okay.
everything's not going to be okay, but will always love you no matter what.
Yeah.
And there's, it's like if you better be able to take a hit, because it's not going to be easy, but
So
that's all right, and it's sort of universal.
yeah, and I think that what I love about this song so much, I honestly do think it's one of your best songs that you guys have ever written, and I think because, especially as somebody who follows this band, one of my favorite moments in my life was when I was at one of your shows, and my buddy Nick had just had a child, and he was hearing Suburbs for the first time, and the line gets him every time. He broke down in tears. I want to have a daughter before I'm young, or while I'm still young. So when you write a song like Lookout Kid and brings it all full circle, um, that feels like a really vulnerable moment for you And I don't do you I don't know. Is it as vulnerable as I think it is? Because it feels like you're opening up a part of you that you haven't really opened up since, I don't know, 7 kettles.
Um, I don't know. I mean, there's some pretty it's not all autobiographical. Um, but even in fiction, there's a lot of intimacy. So I think that I don't know. W- I love vulnerability in an artist, and I think when you can't get too scared to just be real. I think.
Does the son have music in him? Do you think he's got it?
I mean, he's ridiculously talented, but I don't know. I'm not sure if it's in the top 10 of his talents. But
Really?
yeah,
What's his best talent? What's he doing?
he's an artist.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, he's so young. He could do really anything. I think the most punk thing he could do would probably be an accountant. Just like really mess with mom and dad.
I just love this idea.
Investment banker. That would be like awkward dinners, Christmas dinners.
The because I've heard so often Regine say that she has the music playing inside of her all the time. Um, I w- I wonder if he's going to eventually have that. And secondarily, has he heard the song?
Yes.
What does he think about it?
I think he likes Race and Religion better, but he's a melodist. You know what I mean? He's more into melody.
Why is because the melody?
I'm just kidding. No, he
Okay, I was about to say,
he loves it. Yeah, he loves it.
Okay.
Yeah, he does
Um,
actually love Race and Religion though. It's his favorite.
So when you started out on this journey, you put it in the Toulouse Theater in New Orleans, in front of 200 people, and then you brought it up to New York, the Bowery Ballroom, 500 people or so. Uh, the way that Arcade Fire really got their name was because of the live show, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Which kind of show do you like better? You like that Bowery Ballroom 500 person venue, or you like the lights and the production?
Um, it's not a bigger show. Isn't about the production to me, but there is an energy with because there's such a human interplay from the audience. So it's like they're very different. Like we come from like a very DIY punk background, and I don't think we played on a stage. We were always playing on the floor for years and years and years. We're always just in some warehouse on a floor with you know, our stuff plugged in. So it's like I think it keeps us grounded to be able to play small venues and to you know, I don't know too many bands of our size who could do the Bowery even just physically because we have a lot of crap too, but it's a different way of touring. So it's like just I mean, I just see it as like an important part of where we came from as a band that we like. It's important for us to keep in touch with.
What are the things you do to do that?
Just we work with a lot of people that we've known for a lot of years and who take the piss out of us and
What does that mean? Like, what does that look like? What is taking the piss out of Win Butler? What does that look like?
um I don't know, Dunya. What does it look like? Dunya. That is your real name.
What was the last like kick that you had to be like, oh man, that didn't? I think you're right. I was totally wrong about that.
Well, my second cousin is our kind of our creative director, and so um, last night I texted her on a chain. I was like, "We need masks that say 'we' for SNL, like at the end, so when everyone is on stage, they'll all have 'we' masks, and it'll be really cool." And she's like, "I hate masks so much. I don't want to see the name of the album on a mask." And I was like, "You're right. That's the correct instinct." So I don't know, stuff like that.
So you've got you said it earlier. It's 40 minutes. It's 8 tracks. The last line I had to write it down because I'm not a very smart man. So the last line on the album is
When everything
when
ends,
everything ends,
can we do it again? Nailed it. Still got
I'm
it.
glad you know your own lyrics.
Still got it. I don't even have a teleprompter.
Am I reading too much into it that there might be an accompanying album to this? Because that's the way I see it when I hear that.
You mean like a Taylor?
Just like Taylor.
Like a Taylor. I don't know. It's been a lot to do this one, so but we've never left more on the cutting room floor. I mean, just like a ridiculous amount of material. So
How much?
20 years worth.
What does that look like?
It's
How many
just
hours and hours?
It's a
and
lot of hard
songs?
drives.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How much of it was this close?
a lot of it.
So you could, theoretically take some of that and put it out if you really wanted to, and you had a purpose for it.
I mean, the thing is, finishing stuff is the hardest part. So it's like if you get it to 90%, the last 10% takes 90% of the energy. If that makes sense.
I do.
Yeah.
It does make sense. More I was thinking about it though. I was more thinking that it's not so much that you have something else to give. Do you think it's? I'll put it this way. Do you think of songs and music and art as a slice of time rather than an accumulation of stuff?
I mean, it is. I mean, I think the first time, when recording was invented, it's like you could have a band playing in your living room all of a sudden. And I mean, I think technologically at the time, it's even more radical than VR. It's like you can, like a really good recording, you can hear the drummer and I can hear the piano player, particularly like the old rock and roll stuff. And with like less microphones, you really have a sense of space, and it's like a moment in time. I mean, any good performance is that, it's kind of capturing the essence of a specific moment.
So it wouldn't be one of those things that you would keep, locked away because it was for that moment in that space, and now that it's done, and I've moved on from it.
I don't know. I mean, we're
Interesting.
pretty like methodical about. We sort of missed the boat on the Dylan thing of like putting out 5 records in 6 months, and maybe we could have when we were 19 or 22, but we our way of working is just like much more. There's it's like in filmmaking, it's like there's so many different types of directors. It's like some
Yeah.
people really shoot from the hip, and some people take
Yeah.
forever to do something.
Well, when I do truly love you to death, I want to finish. First off, thanks for spending so much time with us. But I want to finish with something I love doing, mainly because I get bored staring into my machine. So I just do Google predictive text, right? So
What machine?
The Google box thingy.
What is that?
It's a thing you connect with the World Wide Web. The Google
A
box.
Google box?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So
It's like a telephone, or it's like a.
I think I haven't seen a telephone.
Yeah.
I've never seen one of those.
Yeah.
So it might be a VCR.
Okay.
So I type in "does Arcade Fire" and let Google do the rest.
Okay.
Or will Arcade Fire blank? So I have some Google predictive text questions for you. You tell me what the answers are.
So this kind of has more to do with your search history. So I'm gonna look into insights about what kind of stuff you're into based on what Google's telling you.
All right. Is Arcade Fire a good band?
So you're very concerned with ranking things. Do you leave a lot of restaurant reviews?
I've never given a restaurant review in my life. My stepdad does write a lot of angry letters, though. He's still a letter guy.
Does he ever use your sign in on your account? Is he on your Netflix?
Okay. I can't wait till you judge my next question. Is Arcade Fire a Christian band?
So what denomination did you grow up? Baptist, or are we talking Methodist?
Oh, even
definitely not Catholic.
No, definitely not. Can Arcade Fire play my wedding?
When did you get married?
Long before the interweb.
Interesting.
Long before the interweb. And finally, and this one actually I actually do care about. What's Arcade Fire's best song?
Our best song is a question better answered by not me.
There you go. Win Butler. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. Yeah.
And by the way, the jacket's fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a vest.
You do this every album, don't you? You make your own. You get your own clothing line based on the album, don't you? This has become a trend.
You know what? Take a look in your phone every 5 years. I bet you dress different.
I know that, but
every 5 years.
I know, but
you gotta mix it up.
I like I love how it all ties together.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like it's purposeful or intent.
Yeah, it's almost like we think about it.
Right. That's crazy.
Yeah.